I mean, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said,
the manpower was just very stressed and critical to the point of
Hold on to your seats, folks, because today we're diving deep into one of the most scandalous sagas shaking up a small town in Illinois. That's right, we're talking about the unfolding drama in Dalton, where the so-called super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, is facing a storm of controversy that could bring her entire empire crashing down. And trust us, this story has everything. Political power plays, financial scandals, and even federal indictments. So let's get right into it.
To pay everybody? Is it the reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
what was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You do that?
Meeting room, the air thick with anger and frustration. Mayor Tiffany Henyard, known for her bold style and even bolder claims of being the most powerful woman on Chicago's South Side, is in the hot seat once again, facing off against her board of trustees. She lashes out, "Stop creating chaos. You do not stand for me. And I want you to step down." She's not holding back, folks. She's angry, and she's making it clear that she's not going down without a fight.
Is there a motion to terminate Chief Free?
What exactly is what's going on fueling this fury? Well, it all started with a demand for financial transparency, a demand that Mayor Henyard wasn't too keen on fulfilling. The board had just moved to require the village to open its financial books, and Henyard swiftly vetoed the decision, and just like that, the stage was set for a showdown.
In deep debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
The latest twist involves L. Lacey, Dalton's chief of police and one of Henyard's closest allies. Just when you thought the drama couldn't get any more explosive, Lacey has been indicted on federal charges. And we're not talking about minor infractions. This is the big league. Bankruptcy fraud, making false statements, and perjury. Yes, you heard that right. According to the indictment, Lacey is accused of concealing assets and lying under oath to dodge a staggering $440,000 in a lawsuit settlement. If convicted on all 9 counts, he could face up to 45 years in prison. While Lacey claims he's absolutely not guilty, his alleged cooperation in the case has raised eyebrows. After all, cooperating typically requires admitting some level of guilt. So why is this such a bombshell? Because Lacey isn't just any police chief, he's been one of Henyard's most loyal allies, allegedly carrying out her dirty work for years. The big question now is, will Lacey flip? If he decides to turn on Henyard to save himself, it could spell disaster for the self-proclaimed super mayor. This indictment isn't just about Lacey's alleged crimes, it's about the potential unraveling of a corrupt system rumored to have been built by Henyard herself. Lacey's testimony could expose it all, from allegedly using the Dalton Police Department as a personal security force to extorting local businesses. If he talks, the fallout could be monumental.
An illegal appointment, that's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next step.
And speaking of misuse of power, let's talk about Hen's controversial use of the police. Under her leadership, the Dalton Police Department seems to have transformed into a sort of private army, allegedly doing everything from shaking down local businesses to intimidating political rivals.
Yes, Fox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars.
According to former Dalton Police Chief Robert Collins, things got so bad that officers were being pulled from their regular duties, like, actually fighting crime, to serve as Henyard's personal bodyguards.
Mayor Henyard fired her chief of police late last year without any approval from the village board. So now Robert Collins has filed a lawsuit.
Collins didn't hold back, describing how the mayor's relentless demands for personal security left his department stretched to the breaking point. When Collins finally retired from the department, we desperately needed these officers on the streets fighting. Brian Collins said, but instead they were assigned to chauffeur the mayor around. It's wrong, and someone needs to be held accountable. And let's not forget the outrageous spending spree that's left Dalton teetering on the brink of financial ruin. Folks, it turns out that Henyard has been spending taxpayer money like it's her own personal piggy bank. Reports have surfaced that she's racked up hundreds of thousands of dollars in expenses on things like a private ice skating rink and lavish trips funded by Village credit cards. And don't even get us started on the $33,000 she allegedly dropped on Amazon in just one day. Seriously, what was she buying and why?
Would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon. And the main thing is,
these expenses, combined with allegations of pay-to-play schemes where local businesses were reportedly forced to donate to her charity to stay open, paint a damning picture of a leader seemingly more focused on personal luxury than public service.
Sometimes we get invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure the right thing
is being done. But here's where things get really juicy. The FBI has been sniffing around Henyard for a while now, and the indictment of Lacey might just be the break they need to bring her down. Federal subpoenas have already been flying around targeting the Henyard administration and demanding everything from employment records to financial statements. And with Lacey now facing serious jail time, insiders are speculating that he might just cut a deal with prosecutors. If that happens, Henyard could find herself in the crosshairs of a full-blown federal investigation.
Wrong is wrong, and there's a time to hold people responsible and accountable for.
Honestly, who could blame Lacey for wanting to save himself? After all, he's not the only one feeling the heat. Rumor has it that several other members of Henyard's inner circle are already singing like canaries, spilling secrets left and right in a desperate bid to avoid their own indictments. One of these potential turncoats is Keith Freeman Henyard's former top aide, who was recently charged with, you guessed it, bankruptcy fraud. Ehrman, who used to be one of Henyard's closest allies, now seems to be cooperating with trustees who are investigating Henyard's leadership and spending practices. And if he's willing to talk, who knows what kind of dirt he might have on his former boss. But let's circle back to the financial disaster that has become Dalton under Henyard leadership. Remember how we mentioned that the village is in the red? Well, it's not just a small deficit. We're talking about former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, hired as a special investigator to look into finances, uncovered that the village went from a surplus of $561 million in April 2022 to a shocking deficit of $365 million by May 2024. That's nearly a $9 million swing in just 2 years, folks. And where did all that money go? According to Lightfoot's report, village credit cards were used for extravagant purchases, including that infamous Amazon spending spree, along with thousands more at Target, Walgreens, and Wayfair. The township residents are paying for her fund, and unpaid bills don't stop there. Lightfoot also revealed that over $6 million in checks had been approved but never sent to vendors, leaving the village's financial obligations and chaos. So not only is the village deeply in debt, but it also has a pile of unpaid bills that it can't afford to cover. Talk about a mess. Now, if you think Hen's financial mismanagement is shocking, wait until you hear about her response to all these allegations. Rather than come clean or try to make things right, Henyard has doubled down, insisting that she's the victim of a smear campaign orchestrated by her political enemies. In fact, she's gone so far as to reappoint her disgraced Deputy Chief Lewis Lacey to his position despite the federal charges against him. That's right, folks. Henyard is standing by her man, even as he faces nearly half a century behind bars. But why would she do that? Well, Some insiders believe it's all about maintaining control by keeping Lacey in his post. Henyard might be trying to send a message to others in her administration. Stay loyal and I'll protect you. But if Lacey decides to cooperate with investigators, that loyalty could evaporate faster than Dalton's financial reserves. What is it? They knew what they were doing and they thought they could get away with it. And speaking of loyalty or the lack thereof, Henyard's actions have left many in Dalton feeling betrayed. At a recent board meeting, things got so heated that the 4 trustees walked out in protest after Henyard shot down their resolution to open an investigation into her alleged misuse of taxpayer money. And it's not just the trustees who are fed up. Local residents are also making their voices heard, demanding accountability and calling for Henyard's resignation. This is a disgrace, one resident.
So that's one of the reasons I will know when we go through our board packets. It's like, some of this stuff, it's like you don't know exactly what it's for, and then when you ask a question, there's no answer.
Will the FBI's investigation finally bring justice to a town that's been plagued by corruption and mismanagement? Or will Henyard somehow manage to escape the consequences of her actions, as she has so many times before? One thing is for sure, this story is far from over. In fact, it feels like it's just getting started, with new revelations coming to light almost daily, and the possibility of even more indictments on the horizon. It's clear that Dalton is in for a wild ride. And who knows, by the time all is said and done, the super mayor might just find herself facing a very different title inmate. So, what do you think? Is this the end of the road for Tiffany Henyard, or does she have a few more tricks up her sleeve to escape justice once again? And if Lou Lacey decides to cooperate with investigators, could this be the beginning of a massive political takedown in Dalton? We want to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below. Until next time, stay tuned and stay curious.